Hello, hello. New camera. Well, new. It's folding time camera again. I really love these folders, and I want to tell you why. First of all, most of the folding cameras, like the Weltas, the Kodak Retinas, if you keep it to the pretty basic models, you can buy them all below 50 euros. This one was 28 euros. And this one is a Welta Welti I. It is a compact, well, it's very, very compact. You can slide it in your pocket, and that's the reason I love them so much. Because within these kinds of cameras, like the Retina as well, there are some pretty good mechanics and very excellent optics. I dare to say that because I had tested them both, I could compare them, that the quality of the pictures of this one is better than of the Rollei 35 and other expensive small cameras. So again, for 30-40 euros you can buy an excellent example like this one. This is the Welta Welti I, like said, and it has a Carl Zeiss Jena Tessar lens, 2.850 millimeters, and the lens has 4 elements. And I have the experience that with these types of lenses and with these types of manufacturers, 4 elements is already superb. You can go up and for 5, and even some models have 6 element lenses, and they go to superb, excellent level. But those are more expensive. And for these, if you just print the photographs at normal format, they are razor sharp, beautiful contrast, and really beautiful camera to use. Now about the use, let me tell you how this thing works. First of all, the shutter speed you select here on this ring. You can see the dial here. It goes from bulb to 250th of a second. And to be honest, for me that is enough, because I use 50 ASA or 100 ASA move films. So for me there's no reason to need something higher than 1/500 or 1 of the thousands. I never use anyway. The aperture setting is somehow, well, it's not very handy placed, but here is a little dial you can use, and well, it sets the aperture to the desired value. And here on the left you have this knob, and here you set the distance. It's a zone focusing camera. That means you have to, guess the distance, but zone focusing is a question of just getting some experience. In a while you can estimate pretty accurate. Besides that, on the back of the camera there's a little help for you. There's the tablet here, and it shows you the various depth of field values. And that means that given the distance and the chosen aperture, you can choose the zone which will be totally in focus and sharp. And believe me, it works. Now, on top of the camera we have a film advance knob, a little knob which I will show you later how to function, a shutter release button which is locked now, and a film counter, the viewfinder, and the rewind button. The viewfinder has 2 positions. This one position is to about 10 meters, and this one is to infinity. It is pretty hard to, with these small viewfinders to get the right composition anyway, because and for me I wear glasses, so it's for 80% it's a lucky guess, to be honest, and it gives you the general idea what will be on the picture in my case, but it's nice to have it. Now this camera has the older Retinas, you could not fold them back because of when the lens was in the closest focal position. You always had to change them to infinity to close the lens cap hood. For this one, it's the same like the other Weltas. You can see here this little mechanism, and you can see what happens here when I close. This is the knob for setting the distance. You can see when I'm closing the door, you can see what happens to the knob. There's a mechanism that automatically puts the lens into infinity position. And then you close it. Under it is a button to release the hood. And here is a little gadget. Well, it's, if you want to display it, or if you have a wire and you want to stabilize the camera, then it's ideal. It's simply very, very nice. To make a picture, you have to do several things. First, cock the shutter. Of course, set the shutter speed, set the aperture, and then you think, okay, we advance the film. Well, it's locked. To unlock it, you have to press this button, and then you can advance the film as shown here. The only thing is, it doesn't do now anything to unlock the shutter release, because this one has to turn to. You can only fire the shutter if you have a film in it or do the things I do. Now the camera is ready to fire. You hear it? Now the same thing again when you advance the film. Now this thing, it's very quiet. I think it's ideal for street photography. Also here on top you have a cold shoe. To be honest, it's not put in very, very handy. There is a socket here for a flash. So because it's not very handy for the accessories I have, and I will show you some, I have made this little thing. It raises the cold shoe, and from a old donor camera I had, I think it was a Praktika, I took this one and glued it on the 3D printed element. So now I can raise the cold shoe a bit to make it, usable for my accessories. Like, in my previous video I showed you these ones. I 3D printed it for occasions and cameras like this, to put it on and make it more useful. Well, I told you, the shutter is very quiet. It's ideal for street photography. And there's this little gadget that makes this camera into a waist viewfinder camera. You can put it on, look. And then, if you do not want to, I don't want to have a separate light meter in my hand, because basically I lose one hand just with the light meter, and I don't have a strap on this one. So, you always like Houdini magicianing with the camera and never know where to put it, etc. So I made this little cold shoe accessory, and where you can also put this light meter on. Now, for street photography, I have everything in place now. I can see the object, and it's pretty accurate. There are two windows in it, one for 15 millimeters and one for 28 millimeters, and I can set I can measure the shutter speed, the aperture, because this is aperture priority set now on this meter. So I set the chosen aperture for this camera, and then I can see what kind of shutter speed I need. I put the shutter speed, I set it over here, cock the shutter, and here there's still plenty of enough room to fire the shutter. So you see, even this old camera with some little, 3D print accessories, you can make this a very useful modern camera. And it's easy to take it over anyway, because you can also replace this one, like for instance with this one, with a little flash. And then you can put the cable here in the socket, and then you have this small flash. This small flash is suitable for distances up to 2.5-3 meters. That's it. The only disadvantage I found with this camera was that it does not have a connection for a wrist strap. So there is, however, on the bottom a thread for a tripod. Unfortunately, it's on the left, but you know, everything is better than, because normally these camera came with a leather case, and on the leather case you had a connection with the strap. This one came without the leather case, and so I bought this little screw on Amazon. You can buy them, these conversion screws from big screw, I call it big screw tripod to smaller screw tripod. You just put it in here like this, and then you have these little ones with a hook. I put it in here, and you know, like this, I can fix a wrist strap. It is on the left side, but my wrist straps are a little bit longer, so under the camera I can still use it like that. So you see, the camera has, you know, lots of connections and features to make it very usable for modern day and modern day use. So yes, that is why I love these little cameras. You know, it's beside the fact they do not cost much, but the quality you get from the pictures, and the sharpness, the feel you have with these cameras, because they feel rock solid. It's quite heavy, and the compactness, you know, you just can put them in your pocket and take them anywhere. With these cameras you don't go out making photographs, you go out and then when you see something that is worth photographing, or you can say, oh, that would be a beautiful picture, you take out your camera out of your pocket. That is the big difference between these cameras and the big SLRs and the big medium format cameras which do not fold. This you take out. And you can take a few out with a black and white film and a color film, because they don't take much space with you anyway. Well, I hope you like this video. If you have any questions or remarks about these cameras or these types of cameras, please let me know below, and I will, you know, comment or answer you as soon as possible. Thank you very much.